Imagine expanding your team's abilities without adding headcount. With Element 451, AI assistants like admissions advisors and student success coaches work alongside your staff to deliver personalized experiences at scale, offer round the clock support, and uncover data driven insights. It's not just about doing more, it's about doing it smarter. Elevate your team with an AI workforce that delivers personalized, scalable, and impactful experiences across the student lifecycle. Learn more at element451.com. Welcome to the Higher Ed Geek Podcast, where we explore the impact of EdTech on the student experience with engaging, fun, and relevant conversations that honor the wide range of work happening all across the higher ed ecosystem. I'm your host, Dustin Ramsdell. I've been working in and around higher ed for the past decade, focused on student support and digital experience. Join me every week for discussions with some of the best minds in education technology who'll be bringing you their perspectives on how digital transformation is reshaping the way we recruit, engage, and graduate learners. You'll hear firsthand accounts of how institutional leaders are developing their strategy, as well as get deeper on the stories of how these EdTech tools are being built to foster better student outcomes. With that, let's get to today's episode.
Welcome, everyone, to a super special episode recorded live here at Transact 360 in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is our first episode that we're recording here. I'm doing a bunch of interviews here to speak with a lot of different folks, get a lot of different perspectives on aspects of digital transformation, how it's impacting institutions right now. I'm here with Mike. If you want to introduce yourself, your title, and what brings you to T360.
Yeah, Dustin, well, great to meet you. And thank you for having me on. I'm Mike Maxsenti. I'm the co-founder and head of product for Genea. We help universities secure campuses and provide full spectrum camera access control management for a campus.
And I guess for you, I know you all have a booth here, like you're a sponsor, I guess. So, you're just engaging with folks. And I talked to a lot of different people about digital transformation in higher ed, but so much of the stuff here is stuff that I just haven't explored a lot myself, or I don't have a lot of exposure to. So I'm grateful to you and everybody else I'll be talking to today to get insight into campus security, payments, and all these sort of core systems and things, really important aspects of kind of the digital footprint and tech stack of institutions and everything.
Yeah, I mean, security is one of those things that is oftentimes overlooked when it comes to managing a campus and the digital experience that goes into both the student and the administrator side of their campus experience. And so, this Transact 360 for us was about creating an experience for people to walk through and really feel the physical and the digital interaction together. So we're really excited about, how the response has been so far to that experience center. And if you haven't seen it, definitely come check it out.
Yeah, I'm planning on walking the floor here a little bit later. And so, yeah, I'm excited because I think that idea of acknowledging sometimes with all this emotional aspects of different things, because sometimes it is feeling secure is tangible or sort of kind of visceral nature of some of these things, and sort of the user experience and all that. It's always great to see. So two big questions for you, so take them as you will. How are you seeing digital transformation impacting campus security in higher ed right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question for this show because Transact has really been leading the charge in creating digital experiences for campuses for decades, right? And what we're seeing is in today's day and age, right, the student experience expectation is so centered around the digital experience of everything. So whether it's paying for a meal on campus, going to the library, booking your classes for the next semester, everything is run digitally now. And one of the big aspects of that is this merging of the one card experience that Transact gives you into now accessing your dorm room, your building, your library. And so what we kind of sit at is that intersection between the digital experience and the physical experience for a student on campus. And what's so exciting about this particular year for Transact 360 and for us is seeing people starting to want to complete the digital experience and bring that into the physical world, because they've been doing the one card experience for campus payments and all that stuff, but now they wanted to open all the doors. And Transact, through our integration, is enabling that for so many universities and students across the country.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's even like, I guess where my mind went is the idea of like security is a very like broad term to the idea of, even if you're like, getting into the dining hall or something else, it's like, that sort of, essentially, I mean, it's like a payment, if you're like using a swipe or whatever,
Right.
things like that. It's like, you obviously need to make sure that like you are a person who, is allowed to access this or has the, the funds or whatever else, like in making sure that that is secure or can't be sort of, abused or whatever else. There's so many touch points. There's so many sort of like kind of wrinkles to HIPAA security, and certainly in kind of the physical spaces, digital spaces.
Security is kind of like the baseline expectation now. And so what we're trying to do is really focus on the student experience. So when they come on campus, right, they want to use that Apple Wallet or that Google Wallet credential that they use to pay for their coffee at Starbucks, to go get space in the library, buy something online. They should get that same wallet experience with accessing a door. And that's really what we help enable for the campus from that perspective. The other part of the digital transformation question is for the campus administrators. They have gone through a cycle over the last decade of getting all of the on-prem software that they're running, their POS systems, their like class management systems, into the cloud. And so they're not managing those servers anymore. They just have this access control server that's still sitting in the closet that they still have to patch and maintain and worry that it's still running the next day. And so that, part of what we bring to the table for the campus administrator and IT department is to offload the last server that they're running, which is their access control system, into the cloud. So now they don't have to worry about managing servers, scaling them up, patching them, all the security management that goes into that digital experience and digital transformation. We help, abstract that, just like they've done with all the rest of their systems on campus.
Yeah, all the interviews we're having here about like cloud migration and everything like specifically. So I'm glad you kind of give a tip of the hat to that. It's like a whole other episode, and it literally will be. I'm curious, I guess, just your take, because you're sort of thinking, talking about how you sort of think about user experience. Because to me, it is like probably the fundamental dilemma when it comes to, security is like you could make the most secure system or whatever else, but then it's like unusable over it. Like it's secure. Could it like so trying to always find that balance of like, everything feels seamless and easy and fluid, but it is also secure. So like that idea of like, well, we have this like supercomputer in our pockets, like let's harness that potential of like, well, I just habitually use it for so many other things. So like, finding those like integrations, everything. But I guess just like your general philosophy of like, when you're working with campus partners and everything, of trying to find that right balance of like security and convenience.
This has been something that we've focused on since day one of launching the product, is breaking the paradigm of the trade-off between security and convenience. Really what we want to do is bring the best possible user experience without sacrificing anything from a security perspective. And I think we've achieved that fairly well, right? I think when you think about both from the student perspective and the campus administrator side. So on the student end, when access is seamless to the entire campus, right? You just pull out your phone, tap it on the reader, get access to the dorm building, even to your dorm room, right? We have the wireless locks on the doors. And they go to the science building. They can badge it through the front door, the turnstile to get in, everything through that seamless experience where they don't have to remember, oh, I lost my badge, forgot it at my dorm. I have to go back and get my card. All of that goes away. So you really streamline the student experience from that perspective. But also the digital credential is so much more secure than a physical card, not just because of like the core technology, but also think about this, right? Kids are not super security conscious, right? I remember being a student in college, and like security was not on my mind. That makes it very easy from a social perspective to just give someone else your card. Like, oh, you need to go to the library, you forgot your card, here's my card. With a digital credential, you can't do that. You kind of take away that social sharing aspect of it, which helps improve campus security, because now you're verifying in real time that everyone who's there actually should be there.
Right.
And so taking away that ability to share the credential is really important for security. So that's kind of that giving security with user experience at the same time.
Yeah, and I think that anecdote I think is something that like always has resonated with me as I've sort of like dipped my toes into this security world and sort of like, mobile credentials and being able to like, have your ID card for the campus on your phone is that idea of if somebody is rushing to get something to eat from the dining hall in between classes or, they'd go to work or whatever else, like if they like forget their card and it's just like, I guess I can't eat because I don't have time to like go back and forth and this and that, the other thing. Like, so it's that idea where like somebody may be like, oh, well, what's the big deal? Yeah, I could just like give my friend my card and they can use it. It's like,
Right.
sure, that is a air quotes convenience, and ease of use or something. But like the idea is like, well, we're actually giving you even better convenience of like, as long as you have your phone, you can do the things that you need to do. And
it really cuts down on tailgating too, which is a big problem for universities, especially when they're managing meal plans and declining balances. You have to have the identity tied to the actual action of what's being performed. And when you're using a physical card, it's too easy for people to share or just hold the door open or, just walk out with the food, right? So eliminating tailgating is a big part of the security part of things for us. So, like I remember I went to College of Charleston and if I ever forgot my Cougar card, I was not going to bike 5 blocks back up the Charleston Peninsula to go get my card. I was just going to go tailgate in because, kids are like, they're trying to be polite. They're just, oh, you're stuck outside. Let me just open the door for you.
The next era of higher ed is here. AI that's both scalable and deeply human. At the 2025 Engage Summit, learn how to use agentic AI to personalize outreach, engage proactively, and free time for what matters most. This Don't Miss event is happening June 24th and 25th in Charlotte. Enrollify listeners get $50 off with code Enrollify50. Don't wait. Register now at engage.element451.com.
I'm thinking of so much of like what you're saying of like mobile credentials and everything, I think really help with addressing tailgating and stuff. And I think too, because I've seen this mostly like when I've gone back to my alma mater just to like kind of walk around for nostalgia's sake, whatever, and seeing some things that they've changed. I've been like in the library where you have to like beep and then like little doors open, you go in, like those sort of things. So I'm curious, just sort of like the reflections or thoughts on like that idea of trying to find the harmony between physical and digital, because like that idea of like what you beep to verify you are and that you should be here is completely digital on your phone, but then it's sort of a physical thing that like opens the door, you walk in, it closes, and everybody has to beep, you can't like tailgate in or whatever. So like what's your perspective on, I guess, just maybe to elaborate a bit more on like what you and your team do, or just kind of what you're seeing is that like that's kind of just an interesting moment that we're in, is that like it's not that everything is just going completely digital, it's like how can we get the best of both worlds of having like physical sort of manifestations of security while also bringing in the digital side.
Yeah. I'm pulling on my university education here, but when you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like safety is right at the bottom of the pyramid. And I hope that the work that we do when you're talking about putting turnstiles in at buildings, when you're a student in the library, you don't want to have to, you don't want to think about, is everyone here supposed to be here? Like, am I in danger, right? If you have that fight or flight instinct going on, you're not going to be doing your best work. You're not in that zone of focus. And so I hope that through, providing enhanced security and convenience to campuses, that students can stay focused on what they need to focus on, which is getting an education and becoming their best selves, versus like having to worry about, am I in an unsafe place? And so, I think physical security plays a big role in just providing that environment of comfort and safety that all students want to have when they're on campus.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's the idea of like, it might feel like, oh, it's like extra or whatever else, like the idea of like, well, we have to like, pay for and build this whole like turnstile thing,
right,
have people beep into, but like, it is like, it, helps with that, like, preventing tailgating. But then I think it is like, in my head, sort of the optics of it, it sort of gives a reassurance, like, and, gets to a place where, like that is the ultimate goal, is that there is that sort of like emotional sense of safety that allows people to sort of like, focus better, and all those sort of things.
And parents want to see that, right? Like ultimately the people footing the bill want to know that their kid is safe. And when they go over their campus tour, if they see convenient access with a digital experience through a turnstile that's completely seamless, they're going to feel better about sending their child to go to that place. I'm a little biased, of course, but for me, like the turnstile at the library or the science building or the business school is the least amount of friction for the trade-off of knowing that everyone who's there is supposed to be there. And I think a lot of campus administrators are starting to invest in that, right? And because they've done the digitization of the experience across everything else on campus. So this is kind of like that final frontier of bringing the digital experience to the physical world for the student on campus.
Yeah. As we wrap up, this is something that sort of is permeating. I mean, certainly like the cloud migration also is something that's sort of like, getting out there. So I'm going to probably ask this to a lot of folks. So curious again, just take this as you will. What are you watching on the horizon when it comes to your work, and like what should hired leaders be thinking about right now when it comes to campus security?
Yeah, it's a great question. And for us, everything we've talked about for the last 15 or so minutes is about getting access to doors or physical space. But you mentioned it, like there's a big difference between the word safety and getting access to a door, right? Door access control is just one component of that. And so when we're looking at the horizon, like if you come over to our booth, we've got new sensors that we're using to bring safety on our platform beyond the door, as we call it. So when you talk about beyond the door safety and campus safety experiences and products, one of the big ones that we're focused on is, unfortunately, gunshot detection. It's an unfortunate reality in America, but what we want to do is bring these IoT sensors that are specifically tuned to detect the noise and the infrared light of a gunshot and do immediate notification to campus police, campus safety, so that we can help save lives, right? We don't want to just be the door guys anymore. We want to truly take the mandate of campus safety to its ultimate end and provide real-time gunshot detection or occupancy detection. If there is a crowd that is too large in an area, we have sensors that can do crowd detection and provide proactive alerting to campus safety administrators. Hey, there might be something going on here. Send over a campus safety officer. So we're starting to bring in all of these external sensors into the system to really get beyond the door in our platform.
Yeah, I mean, that's powerful stuff. I get like a lot of what we talked about, I feel like is increasingly going to become like the new norm, and sort of like the big sort of like, every institution needs to sort of, kind of manifest those things of just getting people in and out of buildings of, whoever's supposed to be there and things. But yeah, I mean, I think that idea of being able to be more responsive to, a different crisis or something as it happens. And I mean, it is, I guess, like a new frontier, like we can do this, like we can, we have the technology and stuff.
Well, I think there's another aspect too on the horizon for us. So there's two vectors. There's safety and then there's physical space management. And what's been really kind of enlightening for me at this particular Transact 360 is how the campus safety and IT teams are starting to think about the commuter experience. And so the commuter experience brings a whole different challenge when it comes to managing physical space, because you have a dynamic population that needs desks and access at different areas on campus, and you don't know when that's going to happen. So one of the things that we're introducing to the platform is this ability to book space in real time. So you can go into our app, or you can go to the Transact app and say, I need access to this conference room or this desk at the library or XYZ physical resource on campus for this time period. And so now as a commuter, if I'm coming to campus and I maybe my class is at 8 a.m. and it's over at 10, well, I'm going to stay around on campus for the next 6 hours to do my homework, catch up on research, whatever I'm doing. Now I can book dynamic physical access, and I don't have to, call somebody or worry about getting my card turned on at that area. I can just do it through an app. And so there's the safety, and then there's the space management side that I'm really excited about too, because so much of the the campus experience is changing in this new world of commuters and remote students and things like that, where interacting with the physical campus is very dynamic, right? And it can't be managed in real time other than to delegate that out to trusted individuals.
Yeah, that's a great one, because I think that increasingly seeing more commuter students, hybrid students, or online students who may I think often a lot of institutions will talk a big game of like, oh, you could come to campus, you get an ID card, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, well, how's their access managed? Because they're probably classified completely different, and they like theoretically shouldn't have access to anything because they're like not a residential student or whatever. So I think, yeah, that is really exciting to hear. And I think that idea of the sense of safety, the sense of security, and like the whole sort of spectrum of like convenience and security and everything, where like, in my mind too, it's like, if you haven't recently, do a pulse check of your students to see like, you know, what is their level of feeling a sense of safety on campus, and then like digging deeper with some like clarifying questions. It could be that idea of like, you know, they would appreciate more, you know, sort of like check things of like, you know, delegated access or something and dynamic access. And it's like, well, if you book it, you're the only one that has access to it. Or like those sort of things. Like, I think they could really encourage you to like, well, where should we focus first, or where are we having like kind of blind spots when it comes to like, you know, the experience of where it maybe is too clunky, or an area where there needs to be more security and there's not, or something. So I feel like that's where my mind's going, because like we've talked about so many different things, and it could feel like, I don't even know where you begin. It's like, just try to start engaging with your students and getting maybe, you know, focus groups or surveys or, you know, all the above to kind of guide you towards, you know, harnessing all these great tools and stuff that are out there to do this sort of stuff.
Or come to Transact 360, you know?
Come next year. You know, obviously it's too late for now, but yeah, I mean, I appreciate you and what you and your team are doing, and you for taking a little bit of time to hang out and talk with me.
Yeah, Dustin, it's been a pleasure. Really nice meeting you, and really excited about the future of, you know, the campus experience. So thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Higher Ed Geek podcast. This show is a proud member of the Enrollify network, home to Higher Ed's largest collection of podcasts. Enrollify is where higher ed goes to grow. So be sure to check out our other podcasts, webinars, video clips, blogs, and more. Visit Enrollify.org and subscribe for all the latest details and content drops directly to your inbox. Enrollify is brought to you by Element 451, the digital workforce platform for higher ed. Learn more at element451.com.